just went and picked up our 5-speed Getrag, and now we're heading home. 5 speeds in the back. It's got the transfer case right behind it. They gave us a complete wiring harness, drive shafts, shift levers, everything else needed to do the complete swap. And now we're headed back. Alright, we made it back. Time to unload. Okay, so we got the transmission and the transfer case out of the truck with the assistance of the engine lift, and I went through all the parts that we got. Most of them seem to be pretty good, in pretty good shape. I'm gonna sandblast and paint the pedals, store them, and then same with the shift levers. And I'm obviously gonna clean up the boot and the shift knob. So we'll do that now. Okay, I just finished painting these. These are all pretty much, they're all dry. And now I'm gonna reassemble the pedals and put the shifters on the transmission for now. Alright, we're at the parking lot now. Just gonna go home this weekend, start the swap. Automatic right now. I'm gonna give myself about 2 days to do this. I've got Sunday and Monday. My dad and I are going to do the swap. It's automatic, but not for long. So we'll swap out these pedals. I'm also going to take out and get rid of this on the column. Got an extra column, and then I'm also going to get rid of these on, oh sorry, shaking. I'll also get rid of those on the gauges there. I've got a cover plate for that, and I'm going to swap out as well. And then probably further down the road, I'm also going to fix this and center that as it would be from the factory, because it obviously didn't have overdrive in the manual truck, and that was just centered. So I'll probably fix that too. Feel the power loss, especially because it's a little bit cold right now. But you know, the automatic doesn't work too bad when it's warm, but it's cold. This thing's terrible. Definitely gonna fix that with the manual swap. Plus, it'll be more fun to drive. Alright, so it's about a week later now. We've got all the parts in. Got a new clutch from South Bend. That's just the basic stock replacement. I think it's up to like 400 horsepower, 700 foot-pounds torque or something like that. That just comes with the clutch and the pressure plate. And we're reusing the flywheel because the flywheel is okay. There's no scores or scratches. It's just a little bit dirty. And that clutch kit also comes with a new throat bearing. This one's got a little bit of play in it, and it comes with the pilot bearing. And what else did it come with? I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, pop the lid off the top of the transmission here, and determine that it's not going to need a rebuild because everything does look okay. Here, I'll spin it a little bit. Everything looks fine. All the synchros look okay. And the gears look okay. I mean, now would be the ideal time to do it, but everything does look fine. There's no play in the input shaft at all, which is good. So that means the bearing's okay in the front and the back as well. So it all seems good to go. So we're gonna put that in just like that. I'm gonna clean up the surface on the lid and the transmission, and all the shift forks look good. And then I'll reseal that after I put some motor oil in there. I'm gonna put in synthetic 5W30, I believe is what it calls for. So, and overfill it by a quart. Okay.
We're trying to make a Redneck transmission jack, so we've plied together 2 3/4 inch plywood. We're just going to cut a hole in the center of it to accommodate this big bolt, and we're going to take that over to this old broken floor jack we have that doesn't have a saddle on it. And we're going to bolt the platform on there, and hopefully with the help of a couple people getting the tranny out and back in, that'll allow us to lower it and won't be so tippy. Okay, so we got a 3rd ply we're going to glue onto here, clamp it. Drilled out a hole for the head of the bolt and the washer to fit in there perfectly. That'll give us enough room to get a socket on there. And then
that's so the head of the bolt doesn't stick.
So the head of the bolt is below the top of this platform we're making for the jack, and then we'll bolt it to the jack. This wood glue in the end will be stronger than the bolt connection. It'll never let go. Grease that up a bit. Bolts in there, make sure we're lined up. Alright, let's clamp it together. Throw a clamp on there for me?
Let that dry and that should work pretty well.
Good. Let that dry for 30 minutes or so.
So to attach the transmission jack to the floor jack, on the bottom we're going to need some sort of washer to cover this big hole. So use a scrap piece of steel and cut it to size, and we're going to cut a hole in it for the bolt. And put it down here, and then put the bolt through so it can get attached to the floor jack. So this is going to go, the jack's in between there, and then this is on the bottom, and then the bolt's on the bottom. That'll hold pretty nicely. Okay, so we've finished our Redneck transmission jack. Bolted on now. See it from the bottom. Got the bolt on the bottom with the big washer. That's not going anywhere. We're going to put in 5W30 synthetic, and we're going to put in 4.5 quarts. They recommend, or sorry, the owner's manual says 3.5 quarts, but guys on the forums recommend 4.5 quarts, and that's to fully lubricate the input shaft bearing because it's under lubricated and tends to overheat. Okay, so we're here in the shop, got everything ready and set up to do the swap. Truck's in, we got tons of room to work around and under the vehicle. What I think we're gonna do is just leave the truck as it sits, and then maybe block the wheels, and then just do the swap on while it's sitting on wheels. So, here we go. Okay, so I just want to show you the way the pedal setup works right now. I got the light on my camera, so hopefully you can see it. But so here's the automatic brake pedal, and the way that this whole the way that this whole assembly is mounted is just there's a little rod. See where it's mounted right there, and the rod slides in from the side. See if I can get my finger up there. Oh jeez. So there's a screw on the side, and then you can take that screw out, and then it'll just slide out, and then this thing will slide down. And then what? Sorry, excuse me. And then with the new clutch pedal assembly, the clutch pedal will sit on this side, and then the rod. Let's just go to this side. The rod will go there, and then the clutch pedal will sit on this side, and then the brake pedal will sit in there, and then you just have to reattach everything, like readjust the sensor for the brake
brake lights, and then hook it up to the master cylinder for the brakes, and then the clutch master cylinder for the clutch pedal. So we'll do that now.
Alright, just before we do the pedals and to get started and to make the swap and our lives easier, we're going to take out the bench seat and the whole, just peel back the front carpet, because we're going to be having to cut a hole in the floor anyways. So we'll do that, and then that'll make our lives a little bit easier and to get at the pedal assembly as well. Okay, we got the bench seat out now, and we're just going to peel back the carpet just enough so we can get to see here, and then so we're able to cut a hole here and then easily access the pedals to switch out the pedals. There's lots of room when the seat's out. Okay, we just peeled the carpet back. As you can see, they had I guess probably from the factory, like what is this, like a soundproofing felt stuff, but as you can see, that stuff just really holds moisture, so you can start to see a little bit of surface rust. It's not too bad right now, but I mean, I've seen a lot worse. So.
Still solid. Look at that.
But that's nice and clean. Factory paint. So we'll pull that off and then probably do the pedals next. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pull out the steering column before we start the pedals. That'll give us a little bit more room on the pedals, and then we can swap those out, because we're gonna have to do some work on the steering column anyways, just to pull that out. Dad's gonna work on that right now.
Good job, Dad.
Swapping out automatic to manual, when you drop the column, you want to make sure that when you take off the steering column, you make sure to detach the little wire that runs from your park reverse neutral drive switch to the column, because when you drop that, you don't want to break that wire. It's just a very thin, like fishing type wire. Okay, we just took out the large bezel. Now we're going to pull off the steering column. Okay, so we've determined that getting these plastic trim pieces off are a pain in the butt. On here, on these trim pieces, there's tabs, and you have to push in like from the inside, which makes no sense to get them off. So if you take those off, be careful trying to get them off. There's tabs on the back, and you have to sort of push in on the inside to get them off. And then up on here, this one is just threaded in, so we should be able to get a wrench on that and then just thread that out, and then this one will pop right off. So to detach the main harness from the steering column, you need to remove the screw that holds on the entire harness, and then you can pull that out.
There was a cover on that actually. This was on here. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, and then it looks like there's a couple on the bottom as well. Alright, so these are the 4 things that were plugged into the column. Okay, so now we're up in the engine bay, and we're going to take out these 3 bolts on this side of the firewall, and that'll allow us to take the steering column out, and we'll also detach the shift linkage for the automatic transmission. That's the rod that puts it in park reverse neutral drive, and then we should be able to take that off. And then the rag joint as well.